plug it in. I'll just show you how it works. Play this, and you'll see what it sounds like.
Alexa, milk. More milk. More.
It's the type of white I wanna be. Riding around this motherfucker with my whole family. Bitch, we driving in the fucking sea. Bitch, I'm driving a car. Bitch, I just came off the fucking street. Credit score say EE.
The Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump giving Epstein his personal attention.
Donald! Donald! Donald!
I was 11.
Did you have guys hit on you when you were 11? Really?
But I mean, you know, the fashion business is really insane. I mean, you have girls in Milan at 14.
You know how there were rumors that they were throwing people out of cargo planes and it didn't make sense to transport that many people with cargo planes because it cost way much more money anyway? People have been washing up on shores, still shackled together, deceased. This is no longer a rumor. This is what is happening.
Have you guys ever heard of an anti-parasitic drug that brought back language, eye contact, and social connection in nonverbal autistic kids within hours and then got buried?
They ran her DNA twice. Both times something came back that didn't match any known human sequences.
Well, they say, do you support little ghetto bitches that queef? Hey, yo, what you mean? Shit, I get excited. That thing fought on out with a far bag. No cow.
We found one magic ingredient that does the trick on surface pesticides. Baking soda. Most surface pesticides are unstable at an alkaline pH. Mixing a little baking soda into water creates an alkaline environment, and soaking the produce briefly in this breaks down the pesticide's compounds and helps them wash away. These cards detect two common external pesticides, so we made a vinegar solution and a baking soda solution, and tested both against a plain water rinse. And look at that. The grapes from the baking soda bath is the only strip that turned blue, indicating it was effective at removing these pesticides. 2 teaspoons per quart of water and a 30-second soak is all you need.
Okay, so this is Edgar Hige, who works at the Vanuatu Cultural Center and is one of the most renowned sand drawing artists in Vanuatu. Sand drawing is a pretty layered cultural practice in Vanuatu. It is protected as a UNESCO World Heritage cultural practice, and to read from UNESCO's description from it, they say, "This rich and dynamic graphic tradition has developed as a means of communication among the members of some 80 different language groups inhabiting the central and northern islands of Vanuatu. The drawings function as mnemonic devices to record and transmit rituals, mythological lore, and a wealth of oral information about local histories, cosmologies, kinship systems, song cycles, farming techniques, and choreographic patterns." This one that he's drawing right here is the sand drawing for love. And as he was drawing it, he was reciting an oral history, or I guess like what they call a custom story here in Vanuatu about love. And the thing about these drawings is there's so much more than just drawings. At the Cultural Center, they had this image of a sand drawing piece about the traditional economy system. I will literally spend the rest of my life digesting and implementing this because, wow.
Some of the most beautiful homes on the planet are in Africa.
But notice that all this design genius is on the outside and not the interior design. Turns the Western way of thinking upside down, and I always wondered why. Until I visited the Lagos home of Remy Vaughan Richards, which is one of the most decolonial modern homes in Africa. After a tour of the inspiring interiors, she made us go outdoors and chat in the garden, and I had an aha moment. We are not meant to be indoors all the time. Traditionally, interiors are for sleeping and storage. Outside is the space for growing food, communal childcare, communal cooking, laundry, storytelling, playing games, solving disputes under the palaver tree. Outdoor and communal living is the complete reverse to Western society, where they tell you that your home is your castle. Is this really true? Ask any working mother if the home and their nuclear family meets all her needs. Girl. Homes are actually a completely inefficient, invisible, and boring way of doing the housework. Is the Western home a castle or a gendered and lonely workplace? But who wants you in the home? The corporates, who want to sell you stuff and tell you that you need to keep up with the Jones and the Adejohns. And the politicians who don't want empowered communities who can challenge the status quo. So I suggest, especially now it's spring, let's leave our homes, grow something in the garden, reacquaint ourselves with our neighbours, cook outdoors. This is the most decolonial way of living. Perhaps the most powerful way we can enjoy our homes is by going out the front door.
ICE agents have officially broken into the home of a family, all of them U.S. citizens, 20 of them with pew-pews drawn, woke them all up, made them stand outside in the street in their underwear. One of the daughters, who is a minor, had to stand in the street in her underwear. They wouldn't even allow them to get dressed. They go into the house, they trash the whole entire place, take the family's phones and some of the family's property, and then just leave. As the whole entire time, the family is saying, yo, we're U.S. citizens, we're U.S. citizens, we're U.S. citizens. They disregarded it and trashed the home and embarrassed this family. This family just moved into this home 2 weeks ago. They came from Maryland, and they moved to Oklahoma. They don't have any money. They don't have anything now. ICE has taken absolutely all of their life savings. They don't know what to do. Please spread the word. This is extremely important. The right told us this would never happen, and here it is happening.
Let's talk about being a white illegal immigrant in America. I was born in America, but my father was not. He was born in Sweden. My parents, when they got married, they came over here legally. My dad got a work visa and then a green card. Eventually, my father lost his job, his green card expires, and he stays in America. My father is now considered an illegal immigrant. My father was arrested multiple times, did drugs, all while not having legal documentation. They never once threatened to deport him. Why? He's white! It's because he's white! Like, y'all, are you not seeing what I'm seeing? If you're a white person talking about, oh no, we're deporting them because they're illegal, you're racist! You're racist! Because you wouldn't deport a white person.
Sell thought for $22.99 for Black Girl Magic Rosé. You lift it up and it says $18.99 for the same exact 750 milliliter rosé bottle. Rosé 750 milliliter, $22.99. What in the hell?
I'm from Hawaii, here in North Carolina, 4,700 miles away. Completely different culture, different shorelines, but I'm listening to you all and it sounds like home. In Hawaii, there's jet fuel that poisoned our aquifer. In North Carolina, there's coal ash in your rivers. Your creeks hold the same toxins that bleached our coral reefs. Asbestos in Bingham Park, lead in the sands of White Plains Beach where my toddlers swim. Does that sound familiar? Different places, same patterns, and the same perpetrators. You see, we let these corporations in because they promise that we can continue our way of life, keep farming, keep fishing, but then they start squeezing us. They say only grow that corn, only that sugar, only those hogs. But they own the seeds, they own the permits, they own the pesticides, they own the meds, they own the prices, to the point where the grandson has to sell off the family land. Their legacies paved over by the same company. Or something bigger like private equity that owns it all. That's Hawaii's story too. That pain binds us, red state or blue state, black and white, indigenous or immigrant. When it's all said and done, we are the working class, and we all want the same things. Solutions, baby. Number one, return the land to the people who care for it best, not the billionaires, not the chemical giants, not the military. Number two, fight back against corporate rule. Break the monopolies, end the tax handouts that feed the polluters, feed the people instead. Turn the Department of Corporate Ag into the Department for Local Food. And finally, rebuild the village that my native ancestors knew. These modern day plantation owners privatized everything the village provided, put us on their dole, and then made us buy it back. So bring back the kitchens, the kupuna, the uncles and aunties who watch our kids, the public spaces, the roots that held us through every storm. Doesn't matter where you're from, how you voted, because I know the vast majority of us don't see land as something to exploit for profit. We just want to live on it, grow on it, swim in it, and let our kids run free. But first, we're going to have to unite against the greedy.
I find most striking is the presence of Antarctica on ancient maps, because we didn't discover it until 1820, and yet it's on maps drawn in the 1500s with great detail, which again were based on much older source maps that have now been lost to us. The astonishing thing is the so-called Pinkerton world map. It just shows a hole where Antarctica is. A Wolsey-Wooler world map drawn in 1530 or thereabouts, you find Antarctica is present. Gerontius Phineas map. That map shows Antarctica exactly where it should be. There's Antarctica at the tip of South America, just south of South Africa.
And what did they call it back then?
Well, they call it the Southern Land. And it's larger than it is today, but it was larger than it is today during the Ice Age. Antarctica was a much bigger. Now, what the fuck is it doing on a map drawn in the 1500s, which we know was based on older source maps when nobody knew it existed in the 1500s? To me, the obvious answer is we are dealing with the fingerprints of a lost civilization.
All right, I'm gonna show y'all something that I figured out a long time ago, and it's that this map is a fake. Okay, it's a fake. Let me show you what I mean. First off, I want you to notice the skull. Right, here's his crown. Okay. Alright, he's got a horn. Okay, there's the piece that's broken off. Alright, here's your eye socket. And, you know, all the stuff about Egypt and everything, you know, those 3 pyramids, you know, those great ones and all that shit, it's all up in this area, which is the area where your pineal is. Okay, just so you know. Right? Now, then we look around, right? Let's flip this around real quick. Let's see. First, I want you to notice the fucking landmass under the water, right? Oh, maybe this is your fucking Chinese dragon. Oh. Alright, and it goes up to this face right here. Alright, you see a little dragon face? Somebody made this fucking map up, yo. Like, okay, so here's another dragon right here. Alright, now this one would be what they consider to be the world dragon, right? This one goes this way, and then where it comes up, the wings are at, and it comes around this way. Alright, and this is the area where all the volcanoes are and shit. Okay? But if you notice, alright, this is the face of the dragon. The dragon goes behind something. Right? Alright, you see that? Okay, so what's it going behind? Oh, the fucking Pegasus. Here's your main part of the body, right? And where the neck's at, where all the hair would be, look at that. You've got a raised up piece of land, right? And if we look here, right, let me show you something real quick. Boop. We're just going to follow the raised up land. You see how this raised up land right here goes like this, and then like this, and then comes off this way, kind of like a fucking wing does, right? And then you got this raised up land here, which is coming forward like this, right? Kind of like a fucking wing does, right? So, you know, so supposedly, you know, here's your fucking trotting foot, right? Coming up all high and shit, and you know, the rest are going up underneath the dragon. So you ain't gonna see the bottom of the legs, but if you notice, right, where the neck is thick on the horse, look, land raises up. Where the hind leg would be, land is raised up. Right? I'm starting to think that
But this particular deer would be by the house. Every one of our family members noticed that deer. We had family chats about what a weird deer that was, how big it was, how much different colored it was, and how it acted different. I had a bedroom in the front of the house, and I was adjusting my blinds on the window there, and wow, my yard went right up to the woods, and I saw a bear in between two trees. Well, I slid the window open to shoo him away because he's too close to the house, and it stood up. Not a bear, it was it. It was him. He stood up. He was tall, hairy, and all of a sudden, this is the thing that got me. That Bigfoot, skookum, Sasquatch, whatever they want to call it, shape-shifted, folks, into the white deer. Just that quick. And it walked away, and it looked over its shoulders, and it looked at me like, okay. They shapeshift. I don't care what anybody says. They shapeshift. They did it right in front of my eyes.
A woman in Australia came forward claiming that she was a part of a program, not just abducted, but used to create a child that wasn't fully human. Her story wasn't based on dreams or sleep paralysis. She reported missing time, unexplained bruises, sensations of a procedure, awakened memories of being surrounded by beings that communicated telepathically. She remembered being on a table. She remembered them saying, "You'll see him again." When she started questioning her health, she submitted samples for testing. The results showed strange gene patterns, not regular mutations, but parts that didn't match anything in the database. Some said lab error. She said no, it happened twice, and she's not alone. Dozens of women across the globe have claimed something similar, but they were shown children with grayish skin, large black eyes, and an eerie emotional bond they couldn't explain. Children they were told were theirs. Allegedly, Dr. Lear believed that this was the real reason for abduction stories. He thought the strange, unexplained experiences like the implants or surgeries were just the surface. The main goal was something not fully human, and he wasn't the only one. Allegedly, former insiders have claimed there's a whole system in place to track people like this, that certain humans are chosen and watched. It raises questions that most people don't want to think about consent, about control, and where are these children now? So when she asked, if I was pregnant and didn't give birth here, where is the child now? Nobody had an answer, allegedly.
After an unusual and disturbing visit, several federal agents from the Department of Homeland Security showed up at 2 elementary schools this week demanding to talk to students. What happened next has Superintendent Alberto Carvalho praising school workers and demanding answers. Eyewitness News reporter Sophie Flay explains.
What interest should a Homeland Security agent have in a first grader?
On Monday, multiple Homeland Security agents showed up at 2 elementary schools in Los Angeles, according to LAUSD Superintendent Alberto Carvalho. These agents were stopped, questioned, and turned away by principals at Lillian Elementary and Russell Elementary Schools, both in the Florence Graham neighborhood.
They wanted access to the students to determine their well-being, based on, according to the agents, the fact that when they entered this country, they entered as unaccompanied minors. It is well known that these students are under the care of relatives.
According to Carvalho, the agents claimed they were not part of immigration and customs enforcement.
They conveyed to both principals that the parents or the legal guardians in charge of these children had provided them authorization for access to these kids in school. That is absolutely, blatantly untrue.
These agents asked specific questions about students ranging from 1st to 6th grade. The superintendent says they arrived in unmarked vehicles and wore casual clothing.
When the principals attempted to write down details about their IDs, they quickly hid their IDs.
All parents from these schools were notified about these incidents. Ahead of the November election, LAUSD staff were trained in protocols to protect students from federal agents showing up at schools.
We wonder if this may happen at more schools, if they simply will ram through. So we are having to really lean on the principals, the workers, the teachers.
I'm a skinhead-looking white dude from the South, and while I've never been personally afflicted by racism, I do get to hear how these people really feel. Like, seriously, when you look like me, racist white dudes just become an open book. Let's talk about some of the stupid shit they say. So one of the most common justifications that I tend to hear for their ideology is the old 1350 argument. They kind of tend to view it as a silver bullet point. It goes a little something like, if black people account for 50% of all violent crimes committed, despite comprising only 13% of the population, then we're not over-policing black neighborhoods. Police are just there because they're the ones that are committing all the crimes. And the reason that that statistic is so misleading and easy to latch onto is because it's grounded in reality. They got the numbers right. They were just disingenuous about what the numbers represent. The 50% in that statistic is not actually representative of the number of violent crimes committed. It is representative of the number of people arrested under the suspicion of committing a violent crime. And it's kind of funny because with that knowledge in mind, you can now completely reverse their argument on them. If systemic racism doesn't exist within the police force, then how do you explain that 50% of all people arrested for violent crimes are black, despite the fact that they only comprise 13% of the population? Of course you're over-policing them. And since they just love to quote statistics and follow it up by saying math doesn't lie, there's actually a 1350 that proves the opposite point that most people don't know about. 47% of all people that are exonerated for crimes, which means that they find out that they were falsely accused of the crime later and it's legally recognized that they did not commit the crime, are black, despite the fact that they only comprise 13% of the population.
Do not panic, do not run! Do not run! Stay calm!
They took your mom?
Do not panic, do not run! Do not run! Stay calm!
They took your mom?
Ooh, they really starting to show their hand now. Now they are saying the dams are failing in Texas. I just dropped a video last week on this very subject that they lifted the floodgates. Now ain't that suspicious that the dams are failing in this so-called flood when we haven't got enough rain? Okay, ain't that suspicious? Y'all don't see all these dams in Texas? Ain't that suspicious? Right where Kerrville? Boom. Ain't that suspicious? They're right in the heart of it where the flooding going on. Make it make sense, bro. They playing in our fucking faces again. See? Y'all laugh when we talk about HARP and geoengineering, but look at it now. The lies are stacking. If it don't rain, but it floods, what's happening? Huh? What's happening? Can somebody explain this? Infrastructure sabotage.
You can see the metal frame of the mobile home is bent and warped
as if it was softened to the point of almost melting.
But yeah, look at how many trees are still standing. So you would think like a forest fire would have taken out most, if not all, of those trees.
And you notice the white ash footprint, with only brick and steel basically remaining. And that looks just like paradise, with the white ash right next to the unburnt trees.
And see how the structures are gone, but like the trees in between are still there. And I feel like we should see more green, you know, being that it's June.
Right. I think this is like a tinted video. You can see some of those trees are intact. Yeah, those trees look fine.
All right, let me just take this off. Okay, so before I start, I dropped my mouse. Before we show more footage, I'll just give some stats. So this fire is still going on. It's 0% contained. It is in the town of Ruidoso in New Mexico. It started on the 17th of June. That was Monday. It was first reported at 9 a.m. on a Native American reservation, the Mescatero Reservation. So far, it's reported 1,400 structures are destroyed and 24,000 acres of land have been burned. And we have 2 reported deceased, and the number of missing is unknown, but there are people that are missing.
So not only do we have hail, it's 47 degrees out. Just down there past those silos, it was 85 degrees. We got hail fog because the ground is so cold. And lightning and a supercellular thunderstorm. Look at this, guys. This is crazy.
Guys, this is freaking massive. Shanahan just dropped a highly sourced bombshell report on X like just now, exposing secret engineering programs that are actively altering all of our airspace. Based on whistleblower testimony from a federal consultant tied to the DoD, NOAA, DOE, and intelligence agencies, Shanahan revealed that these programs never ended. They were just rebranded. The whistleblower revealed that these terms were deliberately crafted to dodge Freedom of Information Act requests and media scrutiny. Despite the president's 2020 order to halt funding, federal grants still flow to entities like the University Corporation for Atmospheric Research, which has received hundreds of millions of dollars. Their own site even confirms ongoing involvement in aerosol placement, seeding, radiation modification. She also referenced the radiation modification report that confirms that NOAA, NASA, and the DOE are not only involved, they're expanding operations. For instance, NOAA is currently funding 4 active SRM projects, and NASA provides the aircraft capable of flying 12 hours at 41,000 feet, dispersing payloads over 30,000 pounds. Nicole also sourced 1960s hearings held by Congress on control and referenced that by 1979, nearly 100 federal modification programs were already underway. She also sourced a Bill Gates fund run by David Keith and their bankrolling of aerosol experiments, despite Keith admitting the tech could cause 10,000 premature deaths per year. Her report basically consolidates everything we've already known and confirms that this is the largest unauthorized environmental experiment in human history.
You remember Bill Barr, Attorney General, during his first term, not to be confused with Bill Burr. I get the names mixed up sometimes. Before Bill Barr's Attorney General days, he was with the CIA. Just kind of tuck that away. Bill Barr's father was a man named Donald Barr, who was the headmaster at a very prestigious school called the Dalton School. He wrote a book. It involved oligarchs and, let's just say, forcible mistreatment of minors. Imagine being a parent who's paying $67,000 a year and the headmaster comes out with this book. Guess who Donald Barr hired to be a math professor? no teaching experience whatsoever, nor a degree in math. But at 21 years old, he's given this position at a prestigious school. He didn't stay there long because he got kind of creepy on the young women. He'd go to parties with them and there were complaints. And he moved on to what, you may ask? Junior assistant to a trader. Within 4 years, was a partner at that firm. 4 years. That lasted about a year because of an SEC violation. So what did he do then? He moved to consulting work. Immediately, he had billionaires and governments that hired him. 2006, Epstein was charged with one of the charges involved 12-year-old triplet girls being flown in for his birthday party. Allegedly, these girls and others were brought in by a guy named Jean-Luc Bromel, was a scout or something for Epstein's modeling company called MC2. The U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida was a guy named Alexander Acosta. He offered Epstein this sweetheart deal that was insane. Leave for 12 hours a day, take walks on the beaches. When he was released on house arrest, house wasn't defined, so he could take jets to Manhattan. Leslie Wexner, Victoria's Secret guy, Abercrombie guy. Didn't take long for complaints to surface that Epstein was posing as a Victoria's Secret model recruiter. Didn't matter, Wexner still gave him control over all his money. When Trump nominated Acosta for the Secretary of Labor position, because of course he did, Acosta was grilled about this sweetheart deal. He went on record saying that he was told Epstein belonged to intelligence, and that the entire issue was above his pay grade. In the 80s, Epstein frequently used a fake passport. An Australian passport said that he was a resident of Saudi Arabia. He used it to go to the UK, Spain, and Saudi Arabia.
This exact scene from Not Like Us references this photo, 1997, for a German fashion company. So these unique sex speakers and the backwards painting are just very intentional. The woman in the original photo is actress and model Mila Jovovich. Mila started her modeling career at age 11 when she was discovered by talent scout Jean-Luc Brunel. So he was actually banned from his European agency for suspected abuse. What does he do? Of course, he fled to the US and starts his own agency. The funding help? Guess who? Jeffrey Epstein. 20 years later, in December of 2020, Mel was arrested, accused of rape and trafficking minors to Epstein. 2 years later, he was found unalived in a similar fashion as Epstein. I'm gonna play this, because this really tells the full story.
You started out very young. You were like 11, right?
I was. It's insane. I look back at it now, I'm like, oh my God, people thought I was sexy at 11.
Yeah.
Because then I was like, oh God, I look so mature, and now I'm going, I was 11.
Did you have guys hit on you when you were 11? Really?
But I mean, you know, the fashion business is really insane. I mean, you have girls in Milan at 14, and, you know, every driver is sort of their personal club promoter, their personal, you know what, dealer. And, you know, I mean, it's really sick.
She said dealer, but she said, like, yeah, dealer.
It's really insane, because I was lucky enough to have my mom with me all the time.
Yeah, well, I can't see how anybody would not be with you at 11, 12, 13, and 14 years old.
Well, you would be surprised to see these little girls alone in Europe when they're from Nebraska or Iowa, and they're in Europe alone and going to, yeah, party, oh, I'm so mature, oh, hi.
And the phone call to mom is, yeah, Mom, I'm in the room. Yeah, we're not doing anything. Watching some videos.
He does exactly 17 push-ups in this scene. 1 push-up away from the legal age, so. That's like countless Easter eggs in this video.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests. Among them, the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances. Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter.
Yeah, this one's going to shake you to your core. This is the sermon story and the key that completely blows the lid off what you thought you knew about autism. Check this out.
Have you heard of the sermon story? This might be one of the biggest medical cover-ups you've never heard of. Sermon is a drug originally derived from compounds found in white pine needles. It's been used for over 100 years to treat African sleeping sickness due to its powerful anti-parasitic properties. It works so well that the World Health Organization supplies it for free in parts of Africa. But here in the US, it isn't approved by the FDA, and the only way to get it is through the CDC under strict medical supervision, essentially making it off limits to the public. Now, here's where it gets wild. In 2017, Dr. Robert Naveau out of UC San Diego gave a single low dose of sermon to 5 boys with autism. Within hours to days, their language improved, social interaction increased, eye contact returned, and playfulness and awareness came back. One child who had never spoke said his first full sentence. These kids experienced a complete metabolic reset. However, sermon can't be patented. No one owns it, no one profits from it, and therefore the study didn't receive any funding. Dr. Naveau even went $500,000 in debt to run the study himself. And the results, well, they were essentially buried. If you search for it, you'll find fact checks and misinformation because this is so much bigger than potentially curing autism. If sermon works, it supports a massive shift in everything we've been led to believe. It would validate something called cell danger response, a theory that autism isn't purely genetic, but rather a metabolic shutdown triggered by toxins, infections, or chronic stress. If this were true, it would shatter the current medical narrative and expose a multi-billion-dollar industry on symptom management. And maybe that's why you weren't supposed to hear about sermon.
This right here is why I was able to reverse my son's so-called autism, right? Because in our case, it wasn't a life sentence. It was a set of symptoms caused by toxins, inflammation, and metabolic dysfunction. It wasn't genetic. It was environmental. It was reversible. But here's the thing, right? If sermon works, it exposes the truth that millions of us have been screaming, that millions of us already know, that our kids are not broken, that it's not genetic. Our kids are injured and they can heal.
我们来看一下，利用家用电风扇是怎么灭蚊子。首先，我们套上一个网纱，在电风扇后面挂上一个蓝光灯，就构成了一个天然的蚊子陷阱。蚊子会被蓝光吸引，飞过来全部都被电风扇吸入进入网纱。前面的网纱负责把蚊子扣留下来，蚊子装进去不到2小时就被风干。你看是不是
Someone asked me in a comment, do even small amounts of soy and flaxseed disrupt hormone function? One practitioner I consult with told me she has several patients who become really difficult to manage on estradiol all of a sudden. Turns out they were taking ground up flaxseed in a daily protein shake, and that was enough phytoestrogen to just sit on those estrogen receptors and block them. And they responded again when the flaxseed was stopped. Here's why. Black beans contain 9 micrograms of phytoestrogen per 100 grams. Chickpeas have 5. Soybeans have 103,920. Flaxseed, 379,380. That's huge. So 10 grams, like you might put in a protein shake, has 37,000+ micrograms of phytoestrogen. So yes, even small amounts of soybeans and flaxseed cause problems because they're loaded with fake estrogens. Just avoid them.
At that point, all you gotta do is look at the Move 9, look at Leonard Peltier, and no matter how, to all the other political prisoners that this system swore that they would kill in prison. So you gotta look past what they put in front of your face and look at what you can see. Me, my sister Janet, my brother Eddie, we are here because of y'all. And so you got that strength. You just got to keep using it. You might get tired, but just don't give up. We can do it. You kept Mumia off of the death penalty, the execution list 3 times. 3 times. He's alive today because of y'all. So just never give up. Never feel hopeless. Look at Leonard Peltier on Facebook and look at him. They said he never get out. Look at us. Said we never get out. We can bring Mumia home. And just keep that in your mind. We can bring Mumia home. On the move. On the move.
Scratch, 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 scratch. Scratch be unto you.